Peace. Man. Wow. Happy now. Now is the vibe rate. The rate at which we're vibing. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Right now is a time to be extremely truthful and upfront about our growth and what we're doing and where we're going. And what I'm about to speak on is basically this elephant in the room, this uncomfortable subject to most people's egos, but not the soul, because the soul is about truth and about figuring out things. And the only way to figure out, how to move going forward is to be truthful about what's going on right now, But I'm gonna speak to basically gonna talk about this GZA, the rapper from Wu-Tang. He has like somewhat of like a little documentary style the movie or whatever you want to call it on Netflix. And I realized though how indirectly it's showing that disconnect of basically that clashing vibe of, and this is not to like white people against black people vibe and none of that, but just the actual vibe of us like being, because our chemical makeups are different. So we operate and we think and move different, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, it's like bringing it up to show how we could, make this happen together. But basically how, the less melanated people are more attached to the physical being, more attached to, say for instance, the robotics and artificial things, where you got like the pharmacies, you got all these, again, these robots are different little forms of extending the physical nature or trying to be more into the physical instead of tapping in to our soul and our non-physical nature. But basically, GZA has this little documentary style little movie, and there's different episodes. It's called Liquid Science, and I'm seeing like it's almost like a new style of putting certain energies on blast. And what I mean by putting energy on blast, like shining a spotlight on a certain energy without saying, hey, I'm shining the spotlight on this energy, but basically he goes around, and I haven't watched all the episodes. I'm down to I just watched the first 3 or 4, but he's dealing with different scientists and going to certain places. One place he went to was showing how we could live underground because of global warming. Another place he went to was dealing with how we could create fake bees. Another place was dealing with hurricane simulation. Another place was about dealing with immortality and trying to freeze bodies, But basically, it was showing how the certain brethren, matter of fact, the brethren with the less melanin, what I'm saying, have their focus more in the scientific world, what I'm saying. Matter of fact, I think to the movie The Man Who Knew Infinity, and this is something that it pops up. So if it keeps popping up like in a cycle, it's something that we need to grow through, something that we have to get deeper into and learn how we could bring it together in that area. But like how the movie The Man Who Knew Infinity, where you had the brethren, I think he was like an Indian brethren, Indian for nationality wise, but melanated brethren nonetheless. How he came up with this he found a formula to advance to advance mathematics in some way, form, or fashion. But when he went to publish his book or whatever, or publish the information, the lightly melanated person, aka the European white brethren, was like, oh well, you can't just pull these numbers from out the air, and you gotta go through this physicality, and you gotta really map out and do this, and basically making the brethren who came up with the formula try to go through more physical hoops when he already proved that it was proven that his formula worked. So regardless of how he got it, you know, it worked. But it was that battle of the intuition against the logical mind. You know, that feminine. You know, I done brought this up before. Like the polarities is the, you know, the melanated woman, the black woman, and the lightly melanated or white man. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the polarities and those energies. You know, the feminine dark matter. You know what I'm saying? Compared to the super, and when I say this, I'm talking about polarities. You know, they're complete polar opposites in essence, but polar opposites are still a part of one whole. You know what I'm saying? Still a part of one coin, two sides of one coin. So basically, though, just going around interviewing these people, and you know, he's not doing it in a form where it's like, man, I'm against what they doing, or I'm against what they doing, or let's put on blast how, like, he's not going about it standing on a certain position as much as he's kind of going through it neutral. You know, like, oh, all right, this is cool. Like, you know, even dealing with the stuff, like, and that's the thing, being open-minded, where he's like, actually, like, all right, I could see how this could work in certain areas, you know. But also, you could catch the moments where he was like, you know, like, like, you know, y'all getting a little too unnatural. Look like y'all trying to just take everything away from, you know, things being organic, you know, which is our true being. But you know, just showing the you know, that next place, that elephant in the room, that next little place we need to start working on as a peoples. And there's that separation of, you know, the logic and again the masculine and feminine energies, but again just played out in the deeply melanated people and the lightly melanated people, for lack of a better word. And I just, you know, it's like using the word melanin instead of black and white. But basically, you know, one of the guys, you know, dealing with saving the bodies was like, you know, he's like, I don't believe in souls, you know. It's like once the brain activity stop, you know, we stop, you know. And it's just showing how, you know, the shift of where, you know, we move into a place where we're connecting with the soul more. So as much as we want to still stay connected with technology, we don't want technology to become the main thing. And also it's showing how all these technologies have to deal with fear. Like preparing to live underground before anything happens, that's fear, you know what I'm saying? Creating fake bees is fear of bees actually not, you know, making it, you know what I'm saying? All these different things, you know, trying to freeze a body so you could prepare to have parts and stuff, instead of trying to meditate and expand, or trying to astral project and travel, you know. And again, that's the disconnection, because some of the people who aren't, you know, that doesn't have a strong amount of neuromelanin, matter of fact, breaking down the net, you know, people who don't have a strong amount of neuromelanin find it hard to connect to these vibrations, you know. But the first example that popped to my head on like the perfect blend of, you know, say for instance a white person or European lightly melanated person still connecting, like basically meeting in that midpoint to make it happen. I think about Dan Winter. Like Dan Winters and his work is a perfect example of mixing those two realms, because yet, you know, the brethren may be lightly melanated and may have less of a connection than a melanated person. And when I say this, the connection with melanin is one that is, you know, it's already naturally there, but doesn't mean that you are more connected just automatically, because they got people that's blacker than, you know, blacker than these headphones right here, that drink every day and don't give a fuck about this. So, you know, excuse my diction. And they got people who are not as melanated, who were red, yellow, and green, talking about going to Africa, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote white, but connected to, you know, the melanated roots in essence, you know. So just to put it in perspective, you know, it's not no again, just presenting facts, you know, and just, you know, seeing how we could bring this together. But The Dan Winter, again, is that perfect example of someone that, you know, again, that is not darkly melanated, but still using that super scientific, logical, physical understanding or understanding to bring it into a soulful place. Where you look at Dan Winter's work, it's deep science, but it's all talking about your Merkaba and your Taurus field and your Kundalini rays, and then how to connect to the ancestors and bring in your memory through death, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that perfect marriage of science and you know, in the soul, like just the perfect marriage of logic and I say intuition, or, you know, or the physical being with the spirit and the soul, you know what I'm saying? It's like a perfect marriage. So it's just seeing that, you know, this is the next area of concern, in essence, for us as a masses, is like how we're going to deal with the advancement of this, you know, of technologies and stuff like that. Because again, just like looking at what I'm talking to y'all on, you know, through a phone. You know, it is technology, but at the same time, not letting this technology stop me from meditating and stopping me from trying to connect. Stopping me from connecting, you know, telepathically with people, or, you know, astral projecting, all these different things. You know, it's like using the technology, but not letting it, you know, run us, and not letting it, you know what I'm saying, be the first all be all. But again, you know, like it's also seeing, though, where, again, like I tell everybody, the body, the human being, you know, us as humans, everything, this existence is like being the parts of the body, you know what I'm saying? And you can see melanated people as a certain organ that's out of place, just like you can see you know, the lightly melanated people or non-melanated people as another organ. And it's like, you know, if you take one organ, say, for instance, I always use the example, you take the heart, you know what I'm saying? Because again, the heart, the pump brings life. And that's not to say that non-melanated people don't bring life, but just hear me out. Because again, the heart brings life and pump life, but also the other organs helps to keep life sustained as well. But the you know, the heart is just the one of the main catalysts, and what I'm speaking to as far as like you know, if the heart was confused, like somebody came to the heart, you know, and the heart forgot what it was, say for instance, over years, and that the stomach came to the heart and was like, bruh, you know, you really are like an anus, like you're really not the heart, like you really. And not to say that the anus is a bad thing, or not, you know what I'm saying, no good or bad, just listen to me. You know, it's like, you know, you really an anus, and you really should, you know, be going into the digestive system and working in that area, you know what I'm saying? And it's all, you know, of course, hypothetically, because think again what would happen if the certain organs start going in different places, which if the heart went to, you know, lower intestines, and then the stomach, like, all right, now that I done kind of tricked the heart into going work in the intestines, I'm about to become the heart right quick. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like with the Europeans, like when the Moors handed things over, you know, and then as the melanated people start forgetting about the true existence and, you know, forgetting about their roots, you know, they were able to be programmed into something else. That's that same example, like, all right, you know, heart, and then the you know, Europeans stepped into a place of like, all right, well, we about to, you know, run things on a certain level. But what I'm getting to is that, you know, now that the heart is in a different place, you know, the body is operating all different, you know what I'm saying? Now the body is operating where it's more worried about the physical nature, and it's you know, more about being fearful, you know, and things of that nature. And that's not the true existence. That's not the how can I say, that's not the healthy existence of the body, you know what I'm saying? The body is not existing in its healthiest nature when it's operating like that. So with that being said, we gotta, you know, the people in these positions that's having everything fear-based, it's time for that situation to switch up. It's time for the heart to go back to the heart place, the stomach to go back to the stomach, and everything to operate properly. And even better, where now where the heart and the stomach and all these parts could integrate even more, because now but this speaks more to the human level, where when we're being truthful about our existence, then we get real and truthful results, compared to living a lie and dealing with lies. So you get lying and results that are harmful in essence. So again, it's about the heart, or the melanated people awakening and getting to that place of being the people in these positions, like we're not saying a government, but like in the positions of dealing with science, or again, where a non-melanated person dealing with it, bringing both aspects together, like either or, but it's about meeting this energy in the middle and not having this overly scientific and fearful, overly physical thing, running everything, because that's not what truly runs everything. The body, this ego, because as above, so below. Worshiping the physical and being fearful and dealing with all that, that's basically like claiming this physical body as the true existence. And claiming fear is the way to be. You know what I'm saying? And that's not our true existence. Our true existence are vibrations. On a human experience, our real existence is being that extension of God, the universe, non-physical. So with that being said, we got to get back to putting things in its proper order, with getting back to that, again, bringing back that feminine nature, or that intuitive non-physical soulful nature of things, instead of that the over masculine. And again, this is not to say a black person or a melanated person is better than a white person, or a white person. There's none of that. The heart not better than the stomach not better than the intestines, the eyes not better than the ears. It's none of that. But those things need to be in their proper places for things to operate. You know what I'm saying? Like, living a lie won't help. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't fix the situation. So and it's too, it's like the reality of the situation. Again, it's like if I know, say for instance, example, so and so run fast and jump high, I'm not gonna send the person that does the opposite to take care of a task that somebody needs to run fast and jump high need to take care of. So in other words, like Sandlot, perfect example. If you ever watched this movie, Sandlot, I'm not gonna send, with Sandlot, they had to get a ball, out this dog, out a yard that had a big, massive dog, But to get that ball, they needed somebody that could jump a fence quick and run fast, I'm not gonna send the person that doesn't jump high and run fast to go get that ball, because then none of us will be playing baseball. If I send that person to take care of that job. So the person to take care of that job should be the person who run fast and jump high. Is the brethren who run fast and jump high better than the brethren who don't? No. It's just the actuality and the fact that, all right, to take care of this task, this is what we need. Nothing more, nothing less. No right, no wrong. Because again, we get into that point too, because a lot of people try to play that card again. That's the people that really, don't want to dive deep into the spirituality of, the light and dark places. So it's like they stay in that peachy position, which to a certain extent is people who don't really understand spirituality fully, are dealing with it from a dogmatic place. But what I was gonna say, it's about I was about to talk about diving deep. It'll come back. I was gonna speak on diving deep into the subconscious. It'll come back to me. But again, this is something that we have to dealing with the the race situation, where some people, it's either them just not tapping into the deepness of spirituality, or that, again, I've made videos about this, how racism changes clothes. Like, as we're growing, racism has to change the way it looks. So racism will have that guilt trip, like basically in the form of trying to guilt trip, say for instance, somebody like me, like, well, don't you think bringing up melanin is going to cause separation in the people? It's like, no, we're bringing up facts. We're bringing up, the chaga mushroom has melanin in it, and is highly carbon and melanin based. So now, by bringing up this fact, I'm going to cause separation in man, or like, no, causing separation in man is actually doing that, like doing shit to cause that, you know what I'm saying? Not bringing up certain truths, and bringing up certain truths in a very diplomatic way, I might add, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, well, yeah, this person, this and that. It's like just bringing up the truth of the situation, So it becomes that reverse psychology, racism anyway, to be like, oh, well, we shouldn't even be bringing up race at all anyway, and this and that, and it's like, again, it becomes a form of ignoring something. And when you ignore a certain energy in your body, I mean, just look at the state of, racism in America, and how, kind of just keep brushing over it until it gets like, so it's like, you gotta deal with it, and only the people who don't want things to come together don't want to deal with it. And that's for all. That's black people, like, not just white people. That's all people who race, because there's racism on all levels. It's a certain part of people's egos that just has to identify as something, That's, people don't realize, whether they black, white, Asian, Australian, all the different little nationalities, no matter what, you trying to cling on to your nationality, or just not being able to let go of, because, and it's a balance. Of course, on this physical matrix, on this physical experience, we do have a certain template of our body structure, Our body structure have a certain template, a certain uniqueness. But at the same time, again, speaking of Australia, to come back, thinking about, I don't know, it'll come to me. I'll move on to the next one. But again, ignoring situations doesn't, ignoring the root word of ignorance. The root word of ignorance is ignoring. So when you ignoring certain facts, you're being ignorant. And God isn't ignorant. I mean, God is everything. So indirectly, it could be ignorant people. But in the essence, of it, it's ignoring something is ignorance. And ignorance is not our higher self. But at the same time, again, to bring this in the light of balancing light and dark, high vibrations and lower vibrations, we don't hate our ignorance. We love our ignorant selves, and we transmute that energy, and keep it flowing. That that middle place. You know, you're not over here saying, oh yeah, I love people who aren't ignorant. That's all I love is people who aren't ignorant. And then are you over here at the position of like, oh, I love ignorance, you know, and that's all I love is ignorance. It's just that middle place of like, you know, hey, the ignorant person is just as important as the non-ignorant person. It's all a situation that allows for us to grow and see something, you know what I'm saying? That's just the balance of the situation. But yeah, it's just again, bringing the spiritual connection into the scientific realm. Because again, everything was fear based, and what was tight too about the Jizza documentary, back to that. Well, now I ain't gonna lie, I know I had to realize that because of, you know, being awake, you know, for lack of a better word, being awake, all those little third eye open awake. Matter of fact, it's funny because like when pop culture gets a hold of certain little terminology, it almost just throws it off. It's like you don't even want to use it no more. Kind of like the word God. It's like so many people just slinging around so much. It's like, all right, we gotta find something different. But well, I was about to say. Speaking on, I was just talking about God changing up that word. It's gonna come to me. The energy, you know, it's a live channel. I think I was about to speak about fear-based. How the documentary it allowed for. So basically, again, I know because of how, you know, awakening or how much my third eye is open, I'm viewing this documentary in the reality of the situation where the people who making the fake bees, and they had one guy showing how they making equipment for soldiers to carry, you know, more equipment, stuff like that. As a matter of fact, how that brethren was like, well, you know, we're looking for it to be positive or whatever. A few of the guys tried to find a way to say, oh yeah, this is a positive aspect, even though it's based out of fear. But, you know, with that being said, like, it had this blaringly obvious vibe of like how disconnected, you know, these scientists were. Like it's like where they really didn't see, like, it's one or two things: either they had agenda or they're extremely blind to how much they are disconnected from, you know, from source and from God, you know. And that was also obvious. And two, back to again like the format of the documentary, where it wasn't about, hey, look at how disconnected these guys are, these scientists are, you know. Jizza didn't present it in that platform. He presented it as, hey, let's take a look at these things, and then the rest fell in place as far as them, you know, showing how disconnected, you know, that they really are, you know. And again, it's just because fear and source don't occupy the same, you know, the same body. So if you dealing with fear, that means, you know, your higher self then left the body, higher self then left the building. And that's with any form of like negative vibes that you feeling. And when I say negative, just like you know, like feeling of like hate or jealousy or, you know, just anything where you're feeling, matter of fact, in the ego, feeling separated, then you're being disconnected, you're feeling like, not say like anxiety is a complete, well, no, basically what I was gonna say is fear. I was gonna say anxiety, but anxiety more so out of fear. But any of those vibrations, you know, matter of fact, being too far in the future, you know, anxious about the future, or worried about something that happened in the past, you disconnected from your source. You disconnected from higher self when you're in those vibrations. So again, it's about bringing a connection, you know, again, the masculine and feminine, you know, yin and yang, the highly melanated people and the not so highly melanated people, you know, bringing their ideas, you know, to a certain level of marriage where, like, all right, say for instance, I'm trying to think of one of the things that may have, you know, more so, I can't think of no vibe of like what they, because I ain't gonna lie, everything is so fear based. I can't think of a positive aspect, not say positive, but an aspect that's beneficial to the soul existence and the advancement of our souls. But I just go back to the Dan Winters vibe. That's the perfect example of what we would call a white brethren, or a European brethren, or a brethren with less melanin. Dan Winter has that perfect example of how to bring that scientific, logical, masculine mind and have a marriage with the feminine mind. And again, that's from his perspective, because they may have some melanated person that'll, be in spirit, and then choose to connect to the scientific side. I look at myself like I'd be like, Dan Winter's work is like I think that's like the only super scientific, super logical information that I'm that into, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, just everything, like my soul resonates with all, even though it's science, and I'm one of them people that like, I don't want, the less logic, the better. Of course, there's a balance, but it's more so, it's a balance, but it's us moving to a place where the intuitive mind, or I should say the heart, the heart mind operating and dealing with that first, and then the brain logics coming second. You know what I'm saying? But Dan Winter's work is like that perfect marriage where it just feels right. Like, I'm like, bruh, he be dropping the sauce, like, and that shows that balance, you know what I'm saying? That masculine, feminine, non-physical and physical connection coming together. Because again, this spiritual awakening is not about one side defeating the other. It's not about the feminine side overpowering the masculine, or melanated people overpowering non-melanated people. It comes off, it seems as that indirectly, because melanated people have been oppressed, so it seems like they're on some type of rise to look like they're gonna take over, but it's just a natural order of melanated people waking up, so things are gonna get back to its natural place again. The heart realizing it was a heart the whole time, so it's just nobody better, nobody lesser. And I always speak to this too, where melanated people get away from the beating on your chest, I'm melanated, I'm this, and lightly melanated people or white people don't feel so superior, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's another thing, reason why you may feel superior, because you're not connecting, you're not doing your best to connect to your soulful self, you know what I'm saying? And the melanated people not connecting to their logical side, they like way over here with it, you know what I'm saying? It's a balance. Everything operates with a certain balance. Because again, what would be the point of us finding a place to, bring a certain harmony to our existence if it's always going to be about this side overpowering the other side and the other side overpowering? This is going to be a constant battle throughout our, throughout the never-ending story, you know what I'm saying? It just be back and forth, and that's not what it's about, but that's basically it. Just want to, again, stop letting that issue be, stop letting that situation be the elephant in the room. Stop running away from the truth in order to feel comfortable. Like, that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what for myself, like, the fear of not hurting people's feelings is kind of like that people pleasing, let me be comfortable vibe instead of be truthful, It's like, nah, it's about being truthful, and the truth is gonna upset a lot of people who's living in a world that always embrace lies, you know what I'm saying? The truth gonna shake some shit up and, flip over some tables and stuff like that, like Christ in the Bible story when he was flipping the tables over, and this, that's how truth is coming, you know, in a world where it's filled with a lot of lies, you know what I'm saying? But again, like, and that's where the strength to be a person to deliver this information comes from. That's why the chakras gotta be aligned, you know, you gotta be fearless, you know, you gotta be you know, creative and confident, you gotta be in your heart space, you gotta be able to, you know, speak strongly, have the insight, be connected to the all to deliver this information, you know, fully in a manner that doesn't create separation or doesn't help people to grow from it, you know, because all this bringing up this information dealing with is to shed light on aspects to help us grow as a you know, as a organism. But basically it. Oh, got the magnetic hematite. Great to be working with right now. Matter of fact, speaking of balance of like the masculine and feminine energy, this hematite, you know, being magnetic, I think about how it's somewhat an embodiment of, you know, the masculine and feminine energies coming together. Because here it is, that hematite is mostly made out of iron, you know, that fiery energy, that Mars energy, iron and Mars, you know, again, that masculine energy, so that fiery masculine energy, but also being magnetized, you know, in the feminine aspect, you know, it has this fiery energy to its physical aspect, but then you have this unseen magnetism going on, you know. You see the iron, you know, you see not so much the fire energy, but you see the iron, which gives off a fire energy, you know. You see the physicality of this being iron. Then you have the unseen vibe of the, you know, the magnet energy. Because say, for instance, on this camera right now, can you see the energy of magnetism between these two pieces of hematite with your eyes? You can't see it. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all could see it with our third eye. I'm talking about physical eye, you know. Like, nah, you don't see nothing in between it, but that energy does exist. And you got the fiery physical existence where you actually see the hematite existing. You know? Which that's a partial download from my recent trip that I had lately. But so the moral to the story: balancing the masculine and the feminine energies. You know, getting to a place where the feminine, intuitive, soulful side is what we deal with first and foremost, and then the logic comes after. You know what I'm saying? So all that little science and all that, you know what I'm saying, is good, but we dealing with the, you know, the soul first and foremost, and then we deal with you know, all the little physical sciences and stuff like that. And again, that perfect marriage, you know, go check out Dan Winter's work to see, you know, how that energy comes together in essence. And if you get the chance, check out Jizza. The show is on Netflix called Liquid Science. Because again, it's pretty cool aspects. Because I'm looking at it like, you know, matter of fact, of course, like when I think about when the brethren dealing with the bodies or whatever, you know, he's like, I don't believe in the soul. I think our brain, you know, even though he had that aspect, you know, again, being open-minded, like trying to see how that could, you know, freezing bodies could help do something in some way, form, or fashion, you know, sitting there and being open to that, because that's basically what Jesus is doing with the documentary, is like being open to it, but at the same time, indirectly, you know, the disconnect and the fear, the disconnect from soul and that fearful vibration kind of blaringly obvious, you know. Matter of fact, also, I want to bring up too, because you could see that same vibration in the Osho little documentary called Wild Wild Country, where it shows when Osho came to America and he bought like this this big, like just a lot of property in Oregon, and how how Osho and the people who he had with him, how they operated in the spiritual manner of like whether it's more the feminine vibe first and foremost. Not to say that they didn't have any logic, but it was more so the true vibe of not being over logical and like being scared of sex and all it. Like they were open sexually, they were having fun, enjoying themselves, releasing energy. Again, it wasn't a disconnect from logic, because they did build their own little city. They had certain people appointed as like the mayor of the place, stuff like that. So it had a logic, but then indirectly, without the documentary didn't say, hey, look at how these people in Oregon is so dogmatic in that Christian type of mind frame that they don't get true spirituality. The documentary wasn't presented in that manner, but as you're watching it, it just kind of becomes blaringly obvious how how that vibration is it's kind of causing it's the problem, or it's what's causing the disconnect from soul, but it just kind of prevents soul growth. Because the people in Oregon was like, oh, they are cult masters, like just having that vibe, like, oh, these people are cult and this and that. And again, they only speaking from the place of their perception. So I'm not, as I caught myself, my ego was kind of coming in there trying to clown them, but it is what it is. But again, it just shows how obviously America and the vibe it carries, it just kind of shows that indirectly, and the Jizza documentary does it as well. It just shows how people who are disconnected from the soul truthfully, how they operate, what I'm saying, and how a closed-minded person, operates. But again, that masculine, feminine vibe, it's about having that marriage of the Ida and the Pingala, as above so below, those energies moving up the spine, the yin and yang aspect that exists within us and outside of us, the macrocosm to the microcosm is like bringing it together. But that's all I have to say about that. Peace. And happy now, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Now it's a vibrate.